And welcome back to the Week of Who Wins. And this is going to be a quick one. Aaron Mad Dog O'Reilly, or if we're going to go a little Irish there, Aaron Mad Dog O'Reilly asked the question, who would win in a fight? I want to make sure that I am correct in reading that right. If you did, Godzilla versus the Indominous Rex. Now, obviously there are a couple different versions of Godzilla. There's only one Indominous Rex, so let's go over to the Indominus first. The Indominus Rex, I believe they said, was measured over 50 feet long when fully grown. It was the blend of a T-Rex, Velociraptor, cuttlefish, and tree frog. It's said there's to be other animal components in there as well, possibly snake and things along those lines. But those are the ones that were stated in the film. It has camouflage abilities, be able to avoid thermal imaging, and grew up to about 50 feet long, maybe 60, maybe 55. They said it'd be bigger than a T-Rex, basically, which T-Rex is at most measured about 50 feet long. So maybe let's average that to 55 feet. It's also surprisingly intelligent, pretty durable. Could take some gunshots without too much problems. But ultimately, when I met something bigger and more powerful, or at least equal to it, it is struggle. Like it's still. On a one-on-one fight, it actually did still beat the T-Rex, but it struggled more with the T-Rex than it did with something else. And when combined with the T-Rex and the Raptor teaming up against it, it still was having difficulty. And then the Mosasaur came, and that was pretty much it. And if you look in the trailer for our newest Jurassic World, you see that its skeleton is down there. That is the Indominus Rex. Now I'm going to be fair to the Indominus here. Let's go over the. Technically, the Toei and the different one, and like the 80s ones or Toei is, I think, the original ones, and then the 80s or further ones are two different Godzillas, but we're going to go with them as the same Godzilla. We're going to use that Godzilla, Toei Godzilla. We're going to use the Godzilla from the 1999 Matthew Broderick movie, or 98, Matthew Broderick movie. We'll use the 2014 Godzilla, we'll use Shin Godzilla, and we'll use Godzilla Earth. So, all the Godzillas generally are giant-ass lizards, some bigger than buildings, somewhere in the 300 feet, 400 feet range. With the exception of Godzilla Earth, who is far bigger than that. Godzilla Earth is somewhere in the neighborhood of wouldn't go so far as saying he's a mile high. Though, then again, size comparison to what we see in the movie. Yeah, no, I'd say he's like a mile high. All of them are based off all have their roots in atomic radiation, things along those lines, feeding on radioactive materials usually, or just causing havoc. Honestly, he's an allegory for an atomic bomb. The original Godzilla, the Toei, and leading into like Final Wars Godzilla, had his atomic breath, his red spiral death ray, which is the beefed up version of it. He had electromagnetic properties to some degree. Could be powered up by lightning. Could do a radioactive pulse, like a EMP kind of style, like energy pulse. Strong enough to lift the building. New boxing. Surprisingly not dumb. He's got some intelligence to him. Vicious, and has a healing factor on some levels. The 98 Matthew Broderick one, I think it's 98 now that I say that out loud. They continue to say it makes more sense to me in my head. The 98 one was about the relative same size as. Well, actually, no, he really wasn't as big as the other guy. Because normally Godzilla is depicted as being taller than the skyscrapers. The 98 Godzilla, I think, is actually the small, and technically that's Zilla. We know that, but we're going to use him. Technically speaking, he's actually, I think, the smallest one. Because he even went up against Godzilla in Final Wars. Toei bought him just to kill him. And he was way smaller than normal Godzilla. In fact, he could hide in the city. He could hide in Manhattan. So that's how small he was. So but he's still a couple hundred feet long and about 100 feet tall. So he's still immensely powerful. Dexterous arms. That's one of the things that all these Godzilla have. They're capable of grabbing stuff. He does have an atomic breath, because if we look at the animated Godzilla series, that came after that, which is technically a direct sequel to it, with a few changes made. He does have an atomic breath. He's pretty durable. He can breathe underwater. All the Godzillas can kind of breathe underwater. In fact, if you look on 2014's Godzilla's neck, you can actually see gills on him. So there's that Godzilla. The 2014 Godzilla, they all share the atomic breath, basically. But he's very slow. He's not a speed. So I should also point out that Godzilla 98 is the most mobile, I think, of all of them. He could actually he was very much more like a dinosaur than anything else. But in 2014, his scales actually aren't scales. What they explain is that's actually like atomic scarring on him. That his skin is now just really kicked over with just thick layers of scarred, scaly skin, basically. That's what his skin actually is, the scales. So he's very durable. Granted, going up against something relative to his size or possibly even bigger, he can still take battle damage and still be hurt. But he's amazingly tough, amazingly durable. But he's definitely the most... that's the best way to put it. Him and 98 Godzilla are the least supernatural based, I could say, or least scientifically implausible of them. And the reason I say is they actually root him, and basically it's like when the Earth had like millions and millions, almost billions of years ago, the Earth had more radiation to it, so they fed off the radiation, and then these creatures went underground when the radiation subsided to feed off the radiation of the Earth's core, more or less, or just the mantle and stuff like that. So really, and the Mutas are radioactive creatures. There was radioactive creatures then, so they fed off radiation. They ate the radioactive creatures. That's what Godzilla basically is like. He's rooted more on a scientific basis in that movie. And then you have Shin Godzilla, who basically kept evolving and evolving countermeasures to things. Not only did he grow to immense sizes, he had his atomic breath. He also could do an atomic breath from his tail and from his back, which basically took out numerous vehicles, numerous planes. And then you go into Godzilla Earth, who actually creates a protective barrier around himself when things come in to attack him. They kind of figure out a way to kill him, like an Avatar version. Then they find out, no, that's not the real Godzilla. This Godzilla is the real Godzilla. He's much, much bigger, and he's literally like a mile high and can just raise the planet with a single breath. Like the area where he's blasting in, he just raised that. Okay, I think most of us, from the explanations we've had here, can kind of gather who's going to win all these fights, but let's be fair and do each one. I'm actually going to go in reverse from the two that I know for certain that he cannot beat. So, Godzilla Earth? No. Here's Indominus at this maybe 60 feet maximum height. There's Godzilla Earth. No! Or Godzilla Planet, or whatever it is. No! Godzilla steps on him, he's done. So that one's pretty simple. Shin Godzilla. Not as big as Godzilla Earth by any stretch of the means, but again, you're looking at this guy here to here, can blast him in. He's got too many defensive capabilities, too large. Godzilla 2014, again, about the same there. Now, the Indominus could at least maneuver a little bit around him. I'll give the Indominus credit. He can maneuver a little bit around him, but he's not going to be able to do any damage. He can't go hung and maybe take a bite out of him, because it took monsters, the Mutos, the same size as him, or roughly the same size as him, that were far outclassed the Indominus in strength and power to even hurt him at all. There's no way. Bullets didn't really do anything. They dinked off him. So, I mean, it would take something far more powerful than the Indominus, like the Mutos, to hurt him. So, Indominus can't go up against the Godzilla 2014. So, that pretty much brings us down right now to the Toei Godzilla and the 1998 Godzilla. The Indominus can't go up against the Toei Godzilla simply because atomic radiation and, again, atomic blast, and he's that much bigger compared to him. So that isn't going to happen. Zilla is the only one who, in the Indominus, could at least fight at a more realistic level. Because in the movie itself, we don't really see Zilla use an atomic breath, except for that one time he blows the breath and the cars go flying and fire comes out, which we gathered is pretty much the atomic breath he's using. Apart from that, we never see him use it like we do in the Toei's or Godzilla 2014, Shin, Earth. You never see it like that. But he can still use it. However, Godzilla, in fact, let me see if I can get an actual size for Godzilla. Let's see now. Let's see. Zilla. Zilla. Okay, Zilla. And technically speaking, I could use the Godzilla Jr. from the series, but I'm not going to, because it really wouldn't be much different. Actually, I'll say this. If he went up against Zilla Jr., the Indominus would lose. Indominus would very much lose. Now, let me see here. 90 meters. All right. So what does that translate into in... Let me get a conversion here. Meters to feet. Meters to feet. All right, here. 1 meter. Okay, so 90 meters to 295.2%. So 295.3 feet. So basically, guys, the Indominus is roughly a little over a fifth, and I'm maxing out to the 60 feet mark. It's a little over a fifth of the yeah, it's a little over the fifth of the size of Zilla. So Zilla, let's say Zilla stands here. That means that I'm just gonna do this here. Doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So he stands more here, kind of like. So he would be, and he would also be more maneuverable. Granted, they're both maneuverable, but his smaller size and quicker movements would give him the edge in maneuverability. And unlike any of the other Godzillas, this Godzilla was affected and hurt by bullets and missiles a lot more than any of the other ones. So the Indominus could actually hurt Zilla, like bite and claw and everything like that. And possibly camouflage abilities, because the Indominus was clever. Not quite, and I'd actually put him on par. And camouflage, he could feasibly finds ways to really hurt Zilla. But Zilla's overall size and just ability to also grab things, to be like, it's basically, if he gets hooked onto his arm, he can just grab him and then just like that. So the Indominus loses every one of these fights. 100% of these fights go to every incarnation. Unless you want me to go with, oh God, Godzilla, not Zilla Jr., Godzilla Jr. What the was that one's name? Not Memna. That little, you know what Godzilla say when you ever do strap up your boots. That thing. Yeah, then I'll say this, the Indominus could easily kill that thing in a heartbeat. Sure. I'll give Indominus 100% win on that. Absolutely. Give him a win there. But against every other interpretation of Godzilla I can think of, no, if the Indominus were the same size of at least Zilla, then we'd have a completely different argument going on here. If he were at least the same size as Zilla, because then at that point, I might give the win to the Indominus, if I'm going to be honest. If he were the same size as Zilla, I would give the win to the Indominus against Zilla. The other ones, that's debate. Honestly, I can't give him the win against any of the other ones. But I would give him the win against Zilla if he were the same size. But he's not. He's like a fifth of the size at max. So it's unfortunate. I'm not really certain why you gave me, unless you wanted me to like scale up the Indominus. Because I could have if you had asked, but I didn't. You didn't, so I did not. So yeah, Godzilla wins every time, basically. Again, unless you're going against Godzilla Jr., and here's Godzilla Jr., there's the Indominus, because Godzilla Jr. was honestly really no bigger than a little kid. That was the thing. He was maybe the size of an adult, basically. Like an adult human, like maybe 6 feet high, which means here's that. There's the Indominus. There you go. So but other than that, it was a pretty one-sided fight. But anyway, yeah. That's my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Superman, Magic, what if, anything I do on the channel. Put in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to it at some point. I'm gonna pre-record at least who would win tomorrow's who would win. Maybe I'll get to Thursdays as well. Definitely gonna have to pre-record Thursdays, if not today, then tomorrow, because I got just Infinity War stuff to do. Anyway, thanks for watching. Later, folks.